Hey everybody, it's Chris Campbell, Vice President of Content and Client Relationships with the Food Institute, and I'm with Lynn Herman from Canto at the 2025 Digital Food and Beverage Conference down here in West Palm Beach, Florida. I really think where we could start is just tell us a little bit about Canto. What can you tell us about the company?
Yeah, so Canto is a digital asset management company, and we also do product information management. So we work with CPG brands, food and service, retail manufacturing, and then we also have agencies, higher ed, and we really work with anyone that has a digital asset. So if you have something that you need to store and manage and share, we're able to do that for you in a way that's easy, accessible, but also internally and externally.
How can you help a food and beverage company that's looking to engage more digitally with their consumers?
Sure, so I think that it's both engaging with their consumers, but we have to start with the brand itself. So if you are storing your assets in a way that is not really accessible to your teams, so if someone in brand is looking for something and then the e-com manager is looking for something, a merchandising manager is looking for something, and they're all scattered across different areas, or if you're using a solution like Dropbox or Google Drive or SharePoint, it might be good up until a point. And then we need more permissions, we need robust storage. There's a way that we need to share in a way that is safeguarding our assets. So we see a lot of brands sort of hit a breaking point and say, okay, I need something more and I need something more flexible. And we also know that searching for assets is really difficult, and tagging things, so being able to quickly search for something and using AI as a component of that, that's something that a lot of people are asking for. AI is on everyone's mind, so how are we using that? So we've seen a lot of brands reach out to us and be like, I really need help with searching and finding assets and connecting that to the product specifically and tying those two together.
And I think kind of interesting to that point that there's kind of a, passing of the Rubicon, if you will,
Yeah.
right? There's a point where a company gets to the point that they say, we need some help here. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you see brands approach this content organization as they're starting to get to that point. Maybe
Sure.
to your point earlier, they're on different platforms, but they're like, we need a unified solution at this point. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure, so I've seen it from all ends of the spectrum. I've seen someone using local storage and that fails, and they're coming to us and saying, we need to be cloud-based, we need to be a little bit more agile. And then we see companies that are saying, hey, we're growing really fast, and we're adding all of these SKUs, we're adding all of these assets, and it's just getting too hard to manage on our own. And we want to have our team be self-service as well. So we want to be able to have the ability for them to go and get what they need without worrying that it's not brand approved. So we see a lot of duplication as well, like what they're at their storage limit because some people have just copied, downloaded, uploaded. There's 40 different versions of more or less the same asset, different sizes, different ratios, one to fit LinkedIn, one to fit TikTok, and that is really just not scalable and it really can eat up a lot of your storage, and eventually people are using the wrong assets.
I think that brings up another point too about just different platforms, different partners. How are brands thinking about content access and control at this point?
Yeah, I think that they obviously, first and foremost, your brand is who you are. You need to have that safeguard, but also you want people to be self-service, and you want the retailers to get what they need how they want it. So if a retailer is saying, hey, I just want to have access to what I need in a way and not have to ask you every time, we can do is provide a catalog, a portal for them to be self-service so they can grab the latest product that you launched and the latest imagery that goes along with it, and you don't have to really worry about. Everyone's pretty much a global company at this point, different time zones. People are working different hours, working from home, working remotely. Not everyone's on the same schedule anymore. So to have that self-service aspect and say, you can get what you need when you need it, and we can alert you when we've done something, if we've updated and we want you to add a product, without having to worry that they're sharing the wrong asset or not having the right seasonal promotional shoot. You can really just have a specific catalog for them to self-service.
What are you seeing with brands when they're thinking about scaling their content operations, when they're going into new markets, new channels, maybe going into new countries, right? What are you seeing on that front?
I think personalization is really where it's at, and just knowing your behaviors. If you're going to be in a global market, if something's going to work for one region, it might not work for another. So you need to have specific content that's catered to that. I mean, we're a global brand and we work in EMEA, and even the descriptions and how you were to say personalization, is it an S, is it a Z? You need to have the right information there, because if you don't and you go to an event and you're sharing and you're talking, they're gonna notice those inconsistencies. People are so savvy these days. They notice the most minute detail. And so if you lose the trust and if you say, oh man, that really that wasn't for me, then you're gonna see a shift there, and maybe potentially they'll move to a market where they know them and they feel like they are me, I am them, they're one with it. So I think just the synergy between the consumer and the brand, there's not, even though they're still the retailer, people want to feel like they know the brand these days, even if it's the largest brand in the world. Like think Apple, like they are still trying to be so niche in their markets to really connect with them.
Switching gears again here for the uninitiated, including me. Let's talk about DAM or PIM as a DAM or PIM. What's the difference between the two? And maybe we could talk a little bit about, you know, what kind of teams are coming to you for each of these different solutions.
DAM stands for Digital Asset Management. It's a way for anything that is an asset. It could be an image, it could be a video, it could be a PDF. You need a way to upload that, store and share and organize it. So when you think about folder structure and you're thinking about organization, that's where the DAM comes into play. Being able to store, manage and share assets and search for them in a way that's efficient. Product Information Management, or PIM, is specifically for companies that sell a product. So if you have a physical item and you need to have a description, you need to have a SKU number, ingredients, materials, all of that information is typically living in a spreadsheet from what we hear today. But what we've seen, and as we've grown working with brands, specifically retail, manufacturing, CPG, food and beverage, we've seen that they need a way to not only keep that information, but an easy way to give it to whoever, whether it's a Shopify store, their storefront, whether it's a retailer that they're using for, they need to be able to quickly and efficiently manage the two, because you obviously have your product imagery that's associated with a specific product. So tying those two together so you don't have, again, multiple versions of the same image living in different areas. So we see a lot of people coming to us maybe looking first of saying, hey, I really need a way to store all my product imagery and my lifestyle photography. And then as we talk to them more, we're saying, okay, but we also, where are you storing your product information? Because the two go hand in hand. So we've seen a lot of people realizing, oh, maybe I didn't even necessarily think that I needed a PIM because the spreadsheet was fine. But again, we all come to a breaking point where a spreadsheet potentially won't be fine anymore. And we want to get ahead of that for them. We want to hopefully solve that issue before it becomes an issue.
Well, excellent. Lynn, I really want to thank you for spending some time with us here today.
Thank you so much.
And we'll catch you next time.
All right, thank you.